Hi, I'm back. This section is on training your dog. I'm going to go into some points that are very important for the family, such as potty training. But first I want to discuss a few of the books that I've recommended on my website. I'm going to hold them up. I do recommend getting them if they do pertain to you and your family. This is Raising Puppies with Kids. It's a great book. It keeps it simple and it's a quick read. I definitely recommend it if you have children in your household. For the family that really likes to get into training, this is The Dog Listener by Jan Farrell, and is also a very good read. This last book is kind of my favorite because it keeps it very, very simple and uncomplicated, and it's Dog Training for Dummies, and it's just breaks it down and it keeps it very simple and common sense like. Sometimes we make things way too complicated. In the book that I've created for you, we talked about puppy socialization, which is very, very important. You're going to take your puppy out with you. I know my trainer, Lori Trocheck, who some of you may be using if you're local, highly recommends taking your dog out. And actually, when you first put the dog on the leash, to take it to Home Depot or Lowe's because they're usually terrified. And they stay stuck to you and your leg, and so they're not pulling or balking because they don't want to leave, and that's how she basically does the leash training. You can also put a little lead on them and have them drag it around the house if you want to. The big thing with training for me is keeping it simple and keeping it consistent. We touched on the words. You will have your puppy's name. Don't call them 6 different names, call them one name, especially in the early parts of this training. You're going to have a potty word, and everybody's going to use the same potty word, whatever that may be. Sit means sit. Down means down or lay down. Off means don't jump. Don't confuse the down or get down or stop it or don't do that. Just use the word off, and that means no jump. And wait or stay, those are 2 different commands. Wait for me is just a pause. The trick to training is not that you have to have 5, 10, 15 minutes of intensive training a day. You're going to be training your dog all day long, kind of like you're training your children. Nothing in life is free for the dog. If the dog is getting ready to eat, make the dog sit, make the dog wait, and then give them a release word to eat their dog food. Okay is my release word. It's a terrible release word. Don't use that because anybody can release your dog. Free is a good release word. You can use a foreign language if you speak a different language as a release word, and that way you're in control of your dog. When your dog comes to you, make him sit. When you take the dog to go potty outside, before you go outside, unless they're having an accident and then you just run outside. But put the dog in a sit and make them stay there for a few minutes, not a few minutes, but 30 seconds. Open the door, call the dog, say Fido come, go outside, go potty. When the dog is going potty outside, praise the dog, don't touch the dog, but just say, good boy, go potty, good boy, Fido, go potty, and just use the word potty or whatever your potty word is over and over again so they will associate the action they're doing with the word. They can play outside for a few minutes. You can give them a treat immediately after they finish their business. When they come back to the house, make the dog sit, make the dog wait, and then come inside and call your dog, use come, and praise him lavishly. Treats are a big part of training for me. Some trainers don't like treats. Some people are anti-treat. I think you're shooting yourself in your head without using a treat. I use a product called Pepperoni. It is it's easy to break. It smells just like pepperoni too. It's easy to break off and in small pieces. If you use the harder cookie type of product, it's hard for them to chew, and sometimes it's too dry and they cough and hack and you've just lost their focus and their concentration. Don't give them too many training treats because obviously you're going to fill their tummy up, so it's very important that you do smaller ones at that time. The big thing is about being consistent. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Too many And too many trainers sometimes can complicate the issue. Mom and dad, if there's parents, they need to be in charge of the training with the dog. If you have a lot of children that are running around the house, and that can kind of undo training. So you will definitely have to have some separate sessions with the dog where there is no other children involved and no other chaos to distract your dog that is involved. If your children are older, they can definitely be an active part of the training. Probably one of the biggest problems I encounter with families is jumping. It's very, very cute for a puppy to jump on them when it weighs 6 or 10 pounds. When it's 40 or 50 pounds, it's a whole different ballgame. So I try to encourage families to use the off command and stop it from the get-go. If you stop it from the get-go, it's a non-issue. If you don't, it becomes an issue. When someone comes to the door, that tends to be a source of excitement. And I realize that some of this isn't a reality, but in a perfect world, what you want is your dog to be standing by your side or sitting by your side, and when someone walks through the door, the dog just sits there quietly. A dog can be trained to do that. The problem I usually have with situations like that is when family or kids come and they see a new puppy, their first reaction is, oh, look at the puppy, look at the puppy. And of course, the minute you start with that animated stuff, the puppy goes bonkers because they're excited. Jumping and licking and doing all that stuff is a greeting to a puppy. It is not a bad thing, it's a greeting. However, when it's a 40 or 50 pound dog, it's no longer a fun, cutesy thing to do. So it's very important that you kind of get that under control. You can get that under control by using a leash, stepping on the leash and making it short. And you can also use a shaker can by the door. A shaker can is a Coke bottle with coins in it and duct tape. Gatorade bottle with rocks in it. Just shake it lightly and it gets their attention. You don't throw it at them, but it gets their attention and they stop the behavior and they'll look at you, and you can kind of get their attention to knock off that kind of behavior. As far as crate training goes, there are several different schools of thought on that. I personally prefer to crate train during the day. When you first get your puppy home, my dogs do not get crate trained before they leave here. They are used to a confined area. They have dog houses, so they like that cozy retreat. You might find your puppy likes to hide under furniture. That's perfectly normal. They're looking for that den cozy type of retreat. I strongly advise you put your crate somewhere in the hub of the house. If you have a wire crate, sometimes they like it covered. Because it gives them that cozy feeling. Airline crates offer that, but in a wire crate, if you can cover it, that is fine. They like that security or safety of it. The crates are not a torture chamber for the dog. The dogs actually do like them once they get used to them. It's a safety issue for dogs. You can't have the dogs running around the house. It's like letting a 2-year-old loose in your house unsupervised. They will find places to go to the bathroom if they're not supervised, and you don't restrict how much latitude or how much area of roam they have without supervision. I had one family, and this is just a classic example of this, that the husband called me up and they had the puppy for 2 days and informed me the puppy had not gone to the bathroom for 48 hours. I said, yes, it has. He said, no, it didn't. I said, yes, it has. And sure enough, I said, I want you to search your house. And she says, well, he hasn't been anywhere. I said, yes, it has. Obviously, the puppy had, he did find that in the upstairs back bedroom was the puppy's new bathroom. And that it was a carpeted area, and he was hiding behind the bed and going to the bathroom up there. When I asked him, shut the door, that was my solution, shut the door and gate the stairs, he didn't want to do that. And I said, well, that's kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Either that or tie the dog to you and keep the dog contained. And that brings to another thing, people that work at home. Like I said, you have to have a safe place for your dog. If you're working at home and you want to keep the puppy in your area, either shut the dog in the room with you. You can tether the dog to you, which is basically like tying the leash on your waist and having the dog laying at your side, or putting the leash under your chair. You can also have a big X pen or a metal pen, kind of like a playpen or nursery. You can also use a laundry room. Laundry rooms are usually fairly safe, providing your clothes aren't all over the floor, like mine are. But you can use a laundry room, which is also another safe place, which offers the dog a little bit more room. But anyway, when you're back to crate training, when you're crate training your dog and you're introducing the crate for the first time, I recommend having the crate door opened. I also like to break off treats and throw them in the crate, kind of like a scavenger hunt. And the puppy can actually go in there and find the little treats and then come out periodically during the day. Periodically, you can throw some of their favorite toys in there, so the puppy on its own volition goes in there. It's not like you're shoving the dog in the crate and shutting the door. Once the dog has kind of gotten used to the crate and it's not a scary thing, what I usually do, because I am a sucker for a screaming puppy, is I do it during the day. I don't do it at night. And when I know I'm going out shopping or going to the grocery store, which I can't take a puppy there, I will put the puppy in the crate. I will give it an elk antler or a bully stick. You can use a Kong toy. Something is wonderful. The crate has to always be associated with something wonderful, never a disciplinary action or a scary action. You're going to put the Kong toy or the bully stick in the crate with the puppy and shut the door and leave the house. Don't stand there and go, is he going to cry? Is he going to cry? Oh my God, he's crying. I'm sorry, and then let the dog out. Just leave the house and be very matter-of-fact about it. If you sit there and let the dog out and it's wailing its head off, you're just feeding into it. And of course, the minute you let the dog out when it's screaming its head off, you've just rewarded the behavior because it wanted to get out of there, so the dog wins. So that's not a good thing either. So I personally leave the house and shut the door, and that way if the dog is crying, I can't hear it. And I'm not gone long, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half that first session. And usually I wait at the door to hear if the dog is crying. And if it's not crying, I walk in and I'll say, hey, Sarah, how are you? Let's go outside and go potty. And I'm very matter of fact. I open the door, pet it. I don't run to the door and go, oh, my poor baby, my poor baby. Don't do any of that. Just very matter of fact, very calm. The crate is not a booger. And then once the puppy goes outside to go potty, praise it, and then you can play with it and so forth. But just keep it very matter of fact and very low key. You'll find that, and you can increase the times in the crate for a longer period of times. The first night home, if you want to do the crate thing, I recommend it needs to be in your bedroom. You cannot banish the dog to the basement so you won't hear it crying. Chances are the puppy, if it's a young puppy, may have to get up once or twice during the night. Do not set your alarm clock. Do not do that. Do not set it for 2 and 4 and 6, because all you're doing is training the dog to wake up at 2, 4, and 6. Chances are the puppy will only wake up once, and by the time it's 9 or 10 weeks old, will be sleeping through the night. It's incredibly quick if you're just diligent with it. The crate needs to be in your bedroom, near your bed. You can put it up on 2 chairs so that it is the puppy is level with your bed, and you can put your fingers in the crate. You can put it on the other side of the room so the puppy is seeing you. A handy trick that one of my families taught me was a fan. My summer puppies and my fall puppies here in Georgia, it's really hot, and the dogs up at the barn are used to fans and box fans. And he said the minute he put a box fan and turned it on low, the puppy went right to sleep. Used to that noise, that white noise, and also used to the wind blowing on its face, the puppy was very comfortable and it felt like home. Another thing you can stick in the crate is a toy that I will be giving you, and I'll go over that again, when I do the bags. I call it a stinky toy from the barn. I put all new toys in the barn area with the puppies, and every puppy gets one to go home. So it smells like here, it smells like their friends, it smells like where they grew up. So it's a comforting toy for them, and you will get that in your bag. So crate training needs to be always a positive thing. It needs never to be a disciplinary or a punishment thing. It always has to be something very, very comforting to them. You can also use the crate if you're eating dinner. Give the dog, the puppy again, a bully stick or something fun, so that the puppy is not interrupting your dinner time, or your kids are not feeding it off the table, which of course reinforces the begging, and it just sets up a whole new set of problems. Trust me, your dog will figure out who his treat source is, be it your child or your husband or whatever. My son used to do this and just drop things off his high chair when he was little. And my dog really thought he was swell. As far as housebreaking your dog, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. Key times to housebreaking your dog: when the puppy wakes up from a nap, or for the night. First thing you do is take the puppy outside. Designate a spot in your yard that you want it to go in. You can even, if the puppy has pooped somewhere outside, I know this sounds ridiculous, but put their poop where you want them to go. Whether it's in the woods or a mulch area or a rocky, wherever it is that you want the dog to go, put where they have soiled someplace else there so they can smell where they've been, and they'll tend to go there. Always take your puppy to that area, and when they do their business, praise them. So you're going to do it first thing in the morning when they wake up. They're usually going to pee and poop. They're going to come in, they're going to eat breakfast, and usually within 15 or 20 minutes after they've eaten, they have to go to the bathroom again. You're not home free yet. Once they've gone that second time, you're usually home free for an hour or two. Now, puppies have very short bladders, bladder spans, so anytime the puppy wakes up from a nap, those first couple of weeks, you're going to be going outside 10, 15 times a day easily. Just being consistent. Of course, while you're doing this, you're going to teach the dog the word sit, you're going to teach the dog wait, you're going to teach the word potty or whatever your potty word is. You're going to be using the dog's name. You're going to be using the come command. And come is always associated with 4th of July fireworks, something wonderful, either lavish praise or lots of treats. If you discipline your puppy on the come command, they will never come to you again. You don't want to do that. Come is always something associated with something wonderful and warm and fuzzy in you. Trust me, your dog will figure out when you're mad at them. If the puppy has an accident in your house, if you don't catch them having the accident, do not discipline them. If you catch them in the act, you can clap or make a loud noise or say the word no or or ch-ch. I have a lot of different sounds for no. A lot of them are distracting sounds, so it stops whatever they're doing and they pay attention to me. But if you have not caught them in the act, you're done. Don't discipline them, don't drag them there, don't rub their nose in it, because what you're doing is you're torturing the dog because they think you're mad at them, but they don't understand what you're mad at them for. That is a very old school of thought, the rubbing the nose in the excrement, but that is not the right thing to do. You're going to keep this as a very positive training tool. That's why you need the Nature's Miracle Spray for those accidents. Accidents will happen. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just one of those things. I mean, it happens to me at my house all the time when I'm training puppies. So, but positive reinforcement is the key to that. Those of you that are using Lori Trocek as a trainer, this whole section you're probably going to skip because she has her own way of doing things and her own training tools, and she will be working with you one-on-one. But we did go over just some potty training and some crate training basics, which are the two things that you're going to need, and also just being consistent and using the same words over and over and making sure your family uses the same words over and over with your puppy. And that concludes this section.